Who's turned up here?
Huh?
Who's turned up here?
How's it going?
Barry!
Hello.
Right, who wants to film? I'm going to put me, let me get my microphone, and then the live stream can see us setting up. So there's me,
We've been going around since 12.
have you? Sorry.
No, that's all right.
It's been a nightmare to try and park. Right. Just putting a microphone in, guys.
It's not like we're short of things to talk about.
So what have you been talking about? Testing. Can you hear me? 1, 2, 3, 4.
What are we allowed to do?
Guys, can we have a microphone check?
No idea. Don't touch what you don't know.
Thank you. Cheers, Dapper.
They're comfortable. Yeah, they're comfortable. I really want to try it.
Do you want to try filming while I
Yeah, they would. Come on, there you go. Come on, Mary.
while I set up.
Hello, Tapper. Birmingham. This is New Street. Loads of titanium buildings here. Corporation. Oh yeah, it's really busy out there today.
So if you're talking, what you do is you spin it round.
Oh no, I don't want to see.
All right, because you have to talk on the other side.
Oh, do I?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, on the other side.
And we got to talk on this side. Beautiful. Just like London, Birmingham is also getting a facelift. They're getting rid of all the Tartarian buildings, or at least hiding most of it. Like these around. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, losing town. Me and Barry had a little walk around Birmingham, checking out all the Tartarian buildings while waiting for everyone. I swear Birmingham feels busier than London.
Yeah. And you get all the first.
Yeah, we've really attracted a little bit of attention. Some people have actually been walking past and of course, little telltale they're seeing this. Of course, that's obviously attracting attention straight away.
One more. One more.
The commandeering the tree.
It should have been here, but oh yeah, we haven't done that one.
Of course, over here we got JD Sports for all you indoctrinated fans of sports. Sorry to tell you, they're all rigged. That's why there's betting in all of them, because they've rigged the sports. Yeah, we took away the ball, now we're taking away the other balls. And here we have some anti-gravity device. See that guy with the anti-gravity device.
It's on the other side.
Yeah, I'm getting the voiceover.
Oh, you can get it.
Yeah.
No problem.
I'm throwing my voice. I don't think they want to check out my mug all the time. Plus, I haven't shaved. Actually, that balloon guy could come in really handy later on. As soon as someone starts arguing about gravity. Let's go and see a man round the corner with his little anti-gravity device. Be hilarious. Might have to buy a balloon. We got a little laugh, little target, and there is a little snigger.
Two clicks of this.
And I think he's being triggered. Lucky. Lucky in the spot there. I think it's going to be a fun day out here.
You ever did it?
To be honest, I don't know how Jason does all this holding this phone. I'm already like, when can I let go of this? And maybe he needs like a little device to put around him. He sure has got some some serious dexterity to hold this phone as many hours as he does.
Another clip over here. clip on the end. Yeah, need two at the bottom.
Oh, you don't know. I guess someone already filming and smiling at the same time.
You need another clip.
I love it.
Are we happy? You look good. Going on. Right, okay, let's do this. How you getting on?
I've got to commend you, man.
A lot to mess around with, isn't it?
Yeah, and you hold this up all day. Yeah, seems like you need some sort of device on it.
Yeah.
Really like.
I've heard comments say, why doesn't he keep this still and stuff?
Why? He's holding it up. That's fine.
You know, because you get a bit passionate and you start running about, and yeah, it's difficult to hold this camera for 3 and 4 hours. Right, so guys, thank you for joining me. We're now in Birmingham. This is, I wrote down day 13. I'm absolute madness. I never check. It's probably for day 14. I don't know. Day 12. But look, we're in Birmingham. The bull is just there. So if anyone's coming down, if you see the bull over there. So that's the bull there. And this is where we are, JD Sports. And the reason that we came here, we actually came here once before and it was snowing. And this was all scaffolding. There was a shelter you could go underneath, and it was fantastic. But let's see what today brings. We're here. It's the last day of the UK part of the tour. So looking forward to today. Yeah, right. Look at that. Barry's at it already. Barry is awesome. He's like this. If you haven't met Barry, it comes down to Speaker's Corner, and he comes. I think he lives in Wolverhampton, not so far away from here this time, so he hasn't had far to come. But he's a trooper. He really is. All right. Okay. Are you okay on camera?
Yeah, David Scriven.
David.
Oh, how you doing?
All right there, buddy.
Yeah, good, yeah, fine.
Oh, right. Because all I get is a name, David Scriven, for instance,
yeah,
and you kind of picture people and
So I
things.
remember them all. This is my wife, Sharon.
Hi, you need a hug as well. All right, thank you very much
I've
for
just
coming.
sent Lisa over there because there's quite a few people standing over by the ball.
Oh, right.
So I think they're all waiting for the same as us, you see.
Right. What it was, we wanted to be there last time we came, but anywhere past this, see the pavement difference?
Yeah.
Anywhere on that pavement, security counts on you.
So, right, okay.
So I know that I'm okay, I'm safe here.
Can we get you a drink?
That water.
Water?
Oh, I love
This
water.
one's hot chocolate. What about if you else is with you? Right here.
Yeah, we've got Barry and we've got.
I'll go and ask him what he wants.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot his name. Oh, jeez, terrible. This is David Scriven. David Scriven. Yes. So this is brilliant. So tell us, how long have you been involved in this?
A couple of years now, but I think I've always been awake. I've never slept that well, I don't think.
Was you first?
I've always, sorry,
Was you first?
as in,
Are you together?
oh no,
Yes,
not
it's my
now.
husband.
It's your husband.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
was
yeah.
you first?
Oh, I was from a child, I've been awake.
Really?
Yeah,
Right, okay.
yeah.
Wow. And so what did you think when
yeah.
you was
I've always been a bit
thinking
mad.
it like this?
Well, he talks to me about it and I say, oh, whatever, because I don't watch the news. I'm not interested in the news.
I talk
and stuff
about
like
a lot
that.
of different
But I listen to him and he gets loads of people in groups and they all sit and they're just all amazed by what he talks about.
Right.
And there's a lot of it about now, isn't there?
So you just said that they're amazed. In my family, it's the other way around. They say,
No, but
he's
I've
crazy,
got-
he
I've
is.
got
There were first people used to laugh.
I've got
at
a
you, didn't
large
they? So what's
family,
wrong
but they
with that?
don't.
Yeah.
They don't seem to. I don't know. They don't.
Is it because
seem
it's gone
to,
on for a
yeah,
long, long time?
Yeah.
That's what Dave does.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
But we did, as he was sick, when we went camping
We
a
go
few weeks
camping
ago.
and talk to
We've got everybody
families
in
and
big
that,
groups
yeah.
and they're all sitting around, they're just staring at him like because he tells us, and I'm quite interested in it.
A
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of things, you know, vaccines,
Yes.
what's going on, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
state of the world
Children
really.
that are
So.
really into it as well. The kids that we've done now, they love listening to it.
I mean, it is interesting, no matter what you believe or not. This is an interesting subject, I think.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
And
fascinating.
the weird part is it's quite difficult really because it throws you up onto other things, or if you're on them other things, that throws you to this.
Yeah.
It's really how it all interconnects. But yeah, I've always been a bit weird all my life. But
Weird.
but that's how you are, though, aren't
what we
it?
should
are.
say is you're not normal.
Well, we're not
and that's
normal,
good
yeah.
not to be normal.
Yeah.
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 So, yeah, I opened my eyes when I was a child, and I was just really interested in things. Like when I was collecting in the 90s, there's Scandal magazines, annual. Do you remember? It was the 80s, yeah. And I was collecting them annual, like the fortnightly subscription.
Yes.
And that was to do with scandals. Then I went on to unexplained ones. I had folders and folders. I was really intrigued in all, you know.
You've probably got a lot to teach us. You probably
It's
know a
very
lot.
free.
I never went to school a lot, so I was quite lucky, and I think that's what opened my eyes because I was out on the streets a lot, and I seen the real world.
You know,
to
all
the
all
way it was.
academics now, they're all going, oh God, not this again. Because
Yeah,
I've been saying that to them, saying I'm really intelligent, but yeah, I'm not educated. Yeah, I don't think they like that.
Well, you know, I just wanted to get out of school and just go to work and do your normal thing and just. Well, I seen life the way it was. So, you know, but you have to go with the mainstream as well, don't you? You got no choice. But it doesn't stop you from, you know, trying to make people wise or open them up and say, look, use your own initiative, use your own eyes. This is what's going on, especially what you see now.
Yes.
You know, so.
And, other than this now, you know, like flat Earth and that, are you delving in still the vaccine, 5G and
5G. I had a little bit look at mud flood.
Yes.
That came from Roxanne. That did.
all right. And how did that grab you? It didn't grab me. It's not my
It's
thing.
not. It's a difficult one. I think it's hard to get people into it because it's something that goes back. Whatever. It's hard to get people to relate to it. Then I started looking into, well, I've always, even for years and years, I was looking into the skies and seeing the chemtrails and God knows what. And I tried to see which was chemtrail and which was water vapour and what. And now, for the last 11 years, I work for a gas turbine engine company. And then I started looking into the fuel hoax.
Yeah, I did.
And then I was getting into that, and then I was looking for, how can them wings hold that much fuel, 180,000 litres of fuel, it's not possible. You never see a fuel tanker in an airport, things like that. And I think with that, a lot of people could associate, you could draw them in with that because they catch planes every day, people get planes every day, so I think it might be...
It's a hard one for a lot of people.
They're going on holiday, just happy that they're getting on a plane, going on holiday. I think they're not.
It just seems too far-fetched because it's something that we experience quite often. You know,
well, I say I make the blades for a gas turbine engine, which is basically I'm making for power stations, so they're probably 50, 60 times bigger than an aeroplane engine.
Yeah.
So for power stations for third world country, but it's the same principle.
Yeah.
And I asked one of the fellas at work, and I said, "What do they actually run on?" And he said, "Well, it's gas."
What's the name of the shoes? No, we've got a great connection. Okay,
I'll go
let's.
and grab you a drink.
Thank you
So
very
want
much.
You want water,
Just
yeah?
water, yeah.
Water,
I'm
hot water and a hot chocolate.
gasping. I am. Yeah. I forgot his name, Roxanne. Tell me his name, please.
No, when you go on, it's not. This isn't more dense. Check it first yourself. This is more dense. And look down low.
No, it's not. Okay, explain density.
Well, this is more
I don't
dense
give my
than the
permission
air.
to be recorded, by the way. Thank you.
This is more dense than the air, yeah? This is more
Okay, if
dense.
it goes anywhere, can you blow my face, please? Thank you.
Yeah, this is more dense than the air. So
He doesn't want to be on camera. I'll try and respect that if people ask politely. Yeah. All right there, buddy. Did you get a leaflet? You got one.
Yeah.
Nice. You come across it before?
Yeah.
All right.
Just having a little read.
Oh, good stuff. If you, I'm about if you want to ask any questions. Yeah. Might change tax today, and I'm just trying my damnedest to get everyone to that website. I'm curious. Yeah, make sure you go have a look on that website, buddy. There's a website there. That's what we're trying to do. Get people to go to there and then check, because that's just such a small part of it.
Right.
You know, there's such a big topic this is, and whatever I've got to say in 5 minutes, it's just not going to be enough.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
No, I'll check it out.
Oh, please do. Please do. It is a fascinating subject, and we're asking legitimate questions that you'll find it really tricky to answer yourself.
Yeah.
You know.
Interesting, man.
Good stuff. Good stuff, buddy. Yeah, so I'm going to try a different tack today. I'm just going to almost plead with people to go along to our website and check it out for themselves. On the website, I don't know if you've checked it out, FE Start, there's just a few links to a few videos that, you know, like just to make sure that people get to the right place, because when they type in Flat Earth in YouTube, they're getting the wrong information. They're getting all the information that we're not saying. That's what's happening. We want them to get our information first, and then go away, debunk it, and then you've got both sides of the argument, and then you can decide on what side of the fence you want to belong to. For me, it's pretty obvious. There's lots of unanswered questions. I spoke to AB Science yesterday. I had a great chat with them off camera, and they seem really legitimate. I do, but I don't. I mean, because I don't know enough about their science and that. I do hope that they are doing their own experimentation and that. But I fear that they're getting their information based on false disinformation. And as I say, it's not all about the science. There's so much more to this. You know, we're being lied to on so many levels. I just mentioned, you know, like, and it was a joke come back. I just said, what do you think of the chemtrails? Oh, what contrails? You know, like, and it's little things like that. And I think they're not doing enough research to actually see what we've all seen and why it is that we're out here. It's not all about the sciences. I mean, like, we were talking about what the science method is, and Nathan Oakley and Anthony Riley, they make a damn good argument, you know, but the guys yesterday, they make a good argument as well. They're saying that there's many scientific methods. My problem with it is when it gets peer reviewed. When it gets peer reviewed, is it getting peer reviewed with these many different scientific methods? Or is it not just using one scientific method? Because that's what you would hope, that there was an agreed scientific method. So Nathan Oakley and, as I say, Sleeping Warrior, they're telling us what the scientific method is, and I can only hope that they are telling us that correctly, because I have to trust them just as much as I have to trust the science community. But if I'm told that there's many scientific methods, then something's wrong, something's amiss there. That's not right. That there should be just one peer-reviewed scientific method, just one, and then we know that we're all on the same page. So, yeah, interesting chat with them though. I hope that they take it further and maybe get onto Ranty Flat Earth channel and take that chat further, because we didn't have enough time to explore it all, and it's difficult because if someone's telling me things like that, then they're almost, as far as I'm concerned, they're preaching to me because I don't know enough. So they would have to be preaching to me because I would have to believe them. I would have to have some faith, believe in them and hope for the best that they're telling me the truth. I won't be able to discredit any of it. So it always puts me in a bit of an awkward position. All I can do is hope that these guys can get together and keep talking this through. This is what we're here for. It's to get you all down to talk about this subject without ridicule. So it's in the mainstream. It's on TV. It's on the media. It's been legitimately talked about. It's been debated, and then we don't need to be here then. This doesn't have to happen. It can all be done on TV, on the internet, in schools and universities. It can all be talked about and researched, because there is millions of globe deniers, flat earthers, whether they like it or not, and it's getting bigger. We're just not going away. We want answers. Now, admittedly, when it comes to physics and that, I'm not the brightest person, so even if you give me the answers, yes, I'm really not going to understand them, not to the level of hopefully Anthony Riley and, as I say, Nathan Oakley, that hopefully that they would understand and counter argue these what we're taught. But for what I've seen so far, I think we're not necessarily being taught to, we're being preached and misled. And I'm not happy with that. So we're here in Birmingham, and let's see if we can bring more people to the table. Remember that we're not trying to convince anyone, we're just bringing them to globalise, flat earth. That's all we're doing. We're just bringing them to the table to talk about.
Newton himself was not keen on the idea of gravity to the extent that he didn't know why that was being
I was going to say something. In the sense of you can have how something works and what it does, and you don't need to know one or the other. I'm an electronics person. I design with transistors. I'm not going to sit and explain how they work. They're separate things, and that's really amusing when you get the old George Musa says that you get the what was it, the breaks the which is complete nonsense. He doesn't. What George Musa he did, but he also explained why. Yes, what he actually said was it takes the magic away from what it does. He didn't say they're two separate things. He didn't say that.
He's saying that it gets rid of the magic.
For example.
So it's a metaphor. The wand itself was a metaphor.
There was something else that was written to explain what that.
Yeah. Well, it's not even a written thing. He did an interview with someone that wanted clarification.
If you get into
so he changed his mind afterwards.
He didn't know he didn't change his mind. It's completely
no, it
consistent.
doesn't. If you get into a car, right? Most people who get into a car and drive, get in, put it into gear and drive off. Happy? Yeah? Most people get into a car and drive off. Okay. Right? How many people who get into a car and drive off could take the car apart and explain every bit of the internal combustion engine? Not many. They're two separate things. The thing with what George Musa said was that Newton described what effect we see. So if I drop a bowling ball from that building, I can calculate exactly when it will land. Right?
Yeah.
What Einstein comes along and tries to explain how it does it. You've got how and what. They're separate things. George Musa didn't say they were two separate things. And he did an interview after the one that was butchered and abused. He did another interview where he explained that he didn't say that they're two separate things. There isn't Einsteinian gravity and there isn't Newtonian gravity. There is gravity. And if you calculate dropping something from a height or, pendulum. You're familiar with pendulums, right? Period of pendulum. So how long it takes to get from there and back again. Yeah? What determines how long it takes to get back from there to there? It has length and it has mass. What determines how long it takes to get from there back to there? I'm asking you a question, yeah. I'm asking you a question. Yeah. I'm asking you if you know what causes it.
But I'm not here on the street to do that.
What are you here for?
I'm here to bring you.
I've already seen the website. Your map is your map is for last year, by the way. A lot of the stuff on your website points to last year. Okay.
I'm here for that. That's it.
Okay. So
Much better people, more articulate people that could answer these questions that you've got on the board.
I would be surprised. Who have we got?
I'm not saying here. I'm saying that there is. As long as
Okay. So you haven't brought anyone here who can answer those sort of questions.
well, I came here by myself, and people have joined me.
Ah. Okay. Okay. Well,
Is that what you've come here for?
I work about a mile away,
Right.
and no,
But this was never about a debate.
well, it should be because if people have questions, okay, I'll give you an example. There's a flat earther called Anthony Riley, right?
Yeah.
And he claims to be an expert on the scientific method and anything like that, right?
And is that not right? So we were having a conversation.
No, it's not, because one of his assertions is that science does not use models to do an experiment.
Okay.
Well,
I've seen that.
they do. We do.
You just say it.
Well, no, we do. You see, if you
Is this scientific method? Is it wrong?
he uses a very narrow definition and claims that you can't use models. But
When
if
it's
you,
peer reviewed,
I know, no,
but when it's peer reviewed,
we use scientific models.
so which scientific method are they using? Because there's
The point is, there isn't a specific scientific method.
so they just pick and
Can I
choose.
give you practical examples?
That's not good.
Can I give you practical examples? It is
I
because
don't think so. Because you're using one scientific method, and somebody else.
they are broadly the same. You depend upon what you're doing. So I'll give you an example. And herein lies the problem. People start to explain something, and every time I see a flat Earth debate discussion, there will be someone on the flat Earth side who says, no, it must be this, and shout over. Nathan Oakley's like that, Quantum Arrays is like that, Anthony Riley's like that.
Maybe because they're just not behind it.
No, because they don't understand it. So can I give you a fairly simple explanation of a process? Right. Optical fibre. Okay. So we use optical fibre for telecommunications all the time. Yeah. You happy with that? Yeah. Well,
I'm not that deep.
the systems that we use that have been built to transmit information on optical fibre is incredibly complicated.
Are you working with the flat earth?
Really complicated. It uses lots of fine bandwidths of wavelengths of light, and it's split up. When all of those things were created, before they were created with a mathematical model. So someone creates a mathematical model, someone who really understands what's going on inside of the piece of glass. Its properties are modelled, and then it's fabricated and tested. And then when it's tested, the mathematical model is looked along with what you actually make to see how much they align. And if they align, great. If they almost align, and then as you go along, both sides of the process learn. The mathematical model learns from the practical, and the practical learns from the mathematical model.
I don't see these people like Anthony Riley and Nathan. I don't see them denouncing all science and all technology. I don't see that at all. What they're trying to do is explain where it is that we live.
But they're not. And I'll use Anthony Riley as an example. Anthony Riley did a very interesting experiment where he had an egg in some water, and he had this instrument which measures conductivity. It doesn't measure density, as he keeps saying it does. It doesn't. It's for parts. I'm an electronics engineer. It's parts. It measures conductivity, and then determines essentially how many small particles are in there. But it doesn't measure the density because different particles the same size
There is
can
a
have.
difference in measurement.
There is.
So it's measuring something.
It is, but it's not measuring what he thinks it's measuring. And on his YouTube feed, several people explained, without being abusive, without being sarcastic, explain what he was doing wrong and how he could improve the measurements. And do you know what he does? He's either abusive, dismisses it, or deletes people's comments without them being abusive. Okay. And that's dishonest, isn't it? Really.
I would go with that.
So
have you come across Ranty Flat Earth?
Oh, he's really good at proving the globe.
So maybe that
His P900 stuff is brilliant because he just shows things disappearing over. But sticking with Anthony Riley's experiment with an egg, all he did was stick the egg in, and eventually it sank, and then he threw some salt in and swizzled it round, and it rose a bit. If I were doing a proper experiment, and I'll go back to the pendulum, if you're trying to determine what controls a pendulum going backwards and forwards, you've got length and you've got mass. You do several experiments where you change the length of the pendulum. And then you do several experiments where you fix the length and change the mass. And then you analyse the results. All Anthony was doing was throwing some salt in, swizzling it around, saying, oh, it rises. What you really want, if you're doing a proper scientific experiment... But no, he was, but not in a way... He was saying that it's measured in parts per million. And people kept saying, no, it doesn't. That instrument does not do what you're measuring. It has...
So that's the argument.
But he wasn't doing a controlled experiment. If you're doing that, you need to know the temperature of the water, the temperature of the egg, so that they're kept constant, so that maybe the temperature could affect it. You have to check that. If you've got an experiment where 5 things could affect the outcome that you think might affect the outcome, what you have to do is either account for or fix 4 of them and vary 1. So if you wanted to see how temperature and humidity affected something, say a plant, you have to enclose it in something and change the temperature while maintaining the humidity, or changing the humidity, maintaining the temperature. And that way you can see which one affects it. Because it could be an interaction between the two, it could be that one does it, or it could be that only one does it. And if you go to an electronics supplier and buy a humidity sensor or a temperature sensor, some of them have those things built in to counteract. So if you buy a humidity sensor, they will have something to check. It could improve by, what he could improve on is by, if someone replies to him and says what you've done is wrong or could be improved, or saying, right, what you could do with that is, he shouldn't be deleting people's comments if they're civil and they just tell him why he's wrong. And he does that. People often say to people, oh, go on Nathan Oakley's show and debate him. Well, first of all, it's debate with him. But if you go on Nathan Oakley's show and try and have a debate with him, the moment you start speaking, he mutes you and starts ranting and swearing at you. That's what he does. You can watch his videos on YouTube and see that. That is not healthy.
Could we get on Ranty's show?
But all Ranty does is photograph things going over the horizon.
Have you not seen this new show?
Oh no! Someone was saying about that. That he was actually trying to be. Yeah. I haven't.
It'd be good.
I haven't. I heard about it via somebody else's.
You can get an honest debate going with.
And that's exactly how it. But that's exactly how it should be. You shouldn't have people explaining. I mean, the one with the egg. One of the comments I put on the egg was he was saying, "Oh, it's parts per million." Well, parts per million is just a way of expressing small percentages.
Yeah.
You know, because no one's going to talk about 0.0001%.
The thing is, as I've told this crowd, you know, like, I'm not, when it comes to physics and all that, I'm not the brightest person really to be talking to. And that'd be brilliant if you could speak to him.
I don't feel like I'm the right person to do that. I'm not a physicist. I'm an electronics person.
Oh, right.
And I just would not want to get involved in random things like that.
But maybe you could bring a few of them points to someone who will.
I have seen plenty of people do that, and the only response that you get to a lot of people's videos is just people taking the mick or being abusive.
No, well, that's the bit that we're trying to avoid.
And that is wrong. So some of the big people on my side, people like Simon Dan, Conspiracy Cats, Fight the Flat Earth.
But then Simon Dan is literally he's Nathan Oakley.
He isn't though because he doesn't mute people. He doesn't start doing that. But someone like
we're trying to get this socially accepted so we can talk, but not ridiculed.
Okay, so
what's Simon Dan doing? Ridiculed.
But only in response to people doing it to him. And then you got a great example is Bob the Science Guy. He's always calm. He's always polite, and he explains things. Conspiracy Cats has a laugh,
Right.
but he'll get there and he'll explain it, and he explains the maths. You can't dismiss maths. It controls everything around us. Just because I'm not a great mathematician, but I don't look at some complex calculus or something and go, "Oh, blimey, I don't understand that." it can't be real. Someone's pulling the wool over my eyes. And that happens all the time.
I know, but you'll believe it.
And the reason why I believe it is because I understand enough. I've worked enough to understand it up to a point where I use it where I can use it to the stuff that I need to. So I can see the leap for me is not from there to there.
Right.
The leap for me is that.
Yeah.
And if I know that doing that and that and that and that and that, then it's not much of a leap for me to appreciate that. And also calculus, a lot of calculus with a pencil and paper, you can prove it. I suspect there's a lot of people that don't like calculus because it's Newtonian. So Newton gave the world calculus. Calculus is a discovery, not an invention, but he gave the world calculus. Right? Well, and people go, well, that must be bad because Newton.
Because he hasn't been proved anything.
Except when he has calculus can be proved time and time again.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's just he hasn't actually proved anything in real world. Proof.
It has. Calculus proves it. Okay. When you were at school, were you taught what the circumference of a circle was?
Yeah, and then I found out that
It's 2 pi r.
Yeah.
It's 2 pi r. Okay. And the area is pi r squared. Now the thing is you can prove that with a pencil and paper and actually measure it. Yeah. And if you do photography, it's to do with the aperture and the light letting. Okay. So the thing is, you can prove this. It's not like it's secret. Now the relationship between 2 pi r and pi r squared is linked by integral calculus. Right. So so already you've proved calculus. If you want to prove differential calculus, plot a graph. Take the tangent to the line.
And is it just you're saying it's black and white, as in calculus?
When you get to
it's all okay.
But the point is that then when you move on to the next bit that's slightly harder, you've made that. It's like going over stepping stones.
Yeah.
And each stepping stone, because you know that you can derive it all from first principles, and no one owns maths, no one owns science. You can move from step to step. Like when I started learning,
Can it be wrong? Built on false axioms, and that can it be wrong?
we spot it very quickly.
Because things are improved and
Because
improved and
because
improved.
because people don't start with one idea and write out 300 pages of maths and then come to a conclusion. People do it and test it, do it and test it, do it and test it.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you can do things. Imagine if you went and bought a car that they had come up with an idea and not done any safety tests or anything and just let it roll off. And it's precisely
I get that.
You go in steps.
But that's improving technology. But
So,
this is kind of different.
but it's the same thing.
Well, no,
Technology and science and engineering are all linked. Trust me, they are. Go to telecoms.
I'll trust you
no,
then.
No, go back to telecoms.
Okay.
We plug our broadband in,
Yeah.
but all the science and engineering went before that. It's complicated, but it's small steps. When I first started learning electronics, I was 9 or 10. It was a hobby, right? I didn't know very much.
Yeah.
Now I can teach it, right? And I didn't just go from there to there. It's not like that.
Okay.
You go it in steps. You learn something, you put that in your mind,
Yeah.
and you apply it. And that's how you question things. If someone says 8 inches per mile squared, I will write out. In fact, I did this yesterday. Because I keep saying 8 inches per mile squared.
Okay.
So I thought,
But there has to be something. So what is it?
but I thought, what is the error compared to if you plot the curve of a quarter of a sphere?
Yeah.
So I sat down and did the maths and worked out how the error increases. Because 8 inches per mile squared,
And it goes off a little bit, doesn't it?
it goes off by about 20% at the equator.
Okay. So, but we're talking about smaller land. We're talking about
Ah, we're
20 miles and 50 miles and 100
Over small,
miles.
but this is the thing. Over small distances, it's a good 6,000. If the curve from pole to equator is about 6,200 miles, when you get to there, the error is about 20%. Of course, if you're standing at the pole, you'd have to be really tall to see the equator anyway. But so that error doesn't matter at that point. But the point is, it's an approximation, and the only people that I ever see mention